we have the third place team. Shockingly, the third place team in the AL Central, the Detroit Tigers. Is it shocking to you or what? What are your thoughts?
I feel like everybody is slowly coming to terms with the fact that the Detroit Tigers are gonna be a baseball team again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there was a decent amount of years there where it was like, oh, it's the Detroit Tigers. Like that is a guaranteed dub. But now we're kind of getting to the end of that, I think, and now we got to start looking at the Detroit Tigers like, okay, this is a baseball team, and if I don't come prepared, they're going to pick up some dubs on me, dude.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting team for me because they have so many good prospects. So many good prospects. Like maybe arguably the best prospect system in the league.
Would agree.
2 of them are in the top 10, and that's Spencer Torkelson and freaking Riley Green, dude. And that's like just incredible. And both of them are going to be ready to go this coming year.
I love it. So for me, right, what I want to see from a Detroit offseason, first of all, bring the dudes up. But this reminds me a lot of the 2019 Blue Jays. And for those who aren't familiar, we knew that Bo Bichette was coming, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was coming, and you got Cavan Biggio coming. Those were the guys in 2019. So we didn't go out and spend and buy a bunch of dudes, right? They kind of bought safe. They bought smart. They wanted to see if they could hit first. They're rarely highly touted, but you got to make sure that they're good. And they were. And what they do in the following years, they bought Ryu, they bought Springer, then they started bringing in the guys. So for me, it's going to be some safe buys. Now, I know you have a little bit of you heard something on the streets.
I mean, I've been
instead of safe buys.
Yeah, I've been hearing rumblings from the management. And these guys, too, we should note, like, I believe that they have roughly, like, a little bit over $100 million to spend.
It's a lot.
Like, they got money to spend, guys. And literally the only guy who's getting paid on this team is Miguel Cabrera, and it's like $32 million. But then after that, it's like nobody is higher than 10 or something like that. So he's the only one making any money on this team. So they got money. And I heard that the Detroit management, they want to make splashes. They want to go spend. They feel like they have guys. And at first when I read that, I was kind of taken aback a little bit. And I was like, I'm not sure about this. I think you could be jumping the gun. And I still think that a little bit. A little bit, yeah. Who are the guys that they were bringing up? They're talking about some of the big shortstops. And when I put that in perspective, if it is a Corey Seager or if it is a Carlos Correa, that starts to make more sense to me because then you get an absolute stud in the middle of your infield and what on a deal that I would assume would be something like an 8-year sort of contract. They're still very young and they're not going to decline anytime soon. Exactly. You're going to have these guys at their age 28 year, playing for you for maybe 8 years. And then that can kind of be the cornerstone of guaranteed elite. And then you bring in Torkelson, you bring in Green, you have Casey Mize popping off. You got Grossman doing stuff. So Candelario sneaky good. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, it's like, whoa, holy crap. Yeah. There are the Detroit Tigers. And this is what I want to compare them to. I want to make another comparison, guys, is they could be like a San Diego Padres as well, right? When they brought over Manny Machado, right? They didn't, and to me, being a little bit more casual, not really at the time, and not really understanding. I knew they had prospects coming, but they weren't there yet. Right. They bring in Machado, the prospects come up, they learn, they play, and they're competitive and they're good. So I actually like that because there's no middle infielder that's really a stud there. You got Torkelson who plays the corner bags. Then you got Riley Green in the outfield. Maybe Fulmer's good, Candelario's good, Goodrum's good. You got some guys. So I like that move. However, for me, I got to see it happen first, right? That's why earlier I compared it to 2019 Blue Jays. Like, yeah, you could have these guys, but just make sure it's there because if it is a big bust, then you're stuck with a contract. However, I do want to lean more towards I don't think it's going to bust because of how highly touted they are. So I'm down for it. I want to surprise me, but I think they should also, if they're going to do that, buy some guys in their pitching rotation. Yes, like that's Bundy, also important. Lyles, that's also important. Shoot, Pineda, make them competitive. Yeah, definitely throw some darts on some pitchers that aren't going to be like the crazy expensive pitchers, right? Because you're growing pitchers. You have pitchers growing, and that's really important. You gotta we understand what it is to grow the pitchers. That's something that it's kind of harder to buy. But for me, it's got to be either Corey Seager or Carlos Correa, maybe Trevor Story.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you guys going out and buying a Marcus Semien or even a Freddie Freeman, because I think that they're just a little bit too old for what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But Corey Seager at 27, if you bring him in, then that just works so perfectly, I think, with the timeline of what you're doing.
Because also in 2024, the only person in 2024 when they should start to get like, okay, we're competitive, right? The only person on the payroll is Miguel Cabrera, and they have a mutual option. So if Miguel wants to hang it up, he can. And then they have literally nobody.
Yes.
So bringing somebody in, you could really overpay for a Carlos Correa.
Absolutely,
or a Corey Seager.
and also show them too. It's like, hey guys, we got all these elites. Like, it's about to get really good here in Detroit.
That is the one thing. It's like, how do you convince them, right? You really, because
you gotta like sell it.
Yeah, because it's easier. It was easier to convince George Springer when we won over 500 games, or excuse me, over 500.
Well,
right?
Here's an extra $3 million. Are you convinced?
Yeah,
you know, that's always the end of the day. Like, that's how you get it done.
We overpay for an older, aging Ryu. It's like, you do gotta overpay. You do gotta do that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
go
So
get
you know
it done.
what? Either go get one of those guys or play it safe. Either one, you guys have options.
Let's go.